years ago, I started a blog. It was called Forget Me Not, Learning to Live With Me and For Me. At that time, learning to live for myself was something I had never really understood or lived by. And living with myself? Well, that was pretty brutal. I was a mess emotionally. I struggled with depression and anxiety that was literally destroying my life. Gone were the days of saying what I meant or not caring about those who didn't matter. The only thing that kept me waking up each morning was the fact that I was terrified of what would happen if I lost my job. I was functional, but spent a lot of time crying in my car, the bathroom, or anywhere else that nobody could see me. Every day it was a struggle. I was self-destructing, one anxiety attack at a time, and I didn't know how to live a different life. At the urging of a close friend who had listened to me sob through many a lunch, I sought out therapy. It was there that I was encouraged to journal, a supposed way to sort through the thoughts and feelings I was experiencing each day. I really didn't want to do it because I believed that it was only going to drudge up and constantly remind me of the hurts that I was dealing with. But I was doing my best to heal. And if that meant following the directions of my therapist, then that is what I would do. Soon after I started journaling, I decided to type it out. I'm basically an impatient person, and my mind would bob along way faster than my pen could actually write. But it was even more than that. I needed my outpouring of feelings to mean something. And the fact that they were supposed to be healing to me, it wasn't enough. Because nothing could be about me. In my mind, I was not worth my own time and effort. My point in seeking out help was because I was a burden to others. I felt I was failing at my job. My family and friends were tired of hearing my story of woe, and I couldn't stand myself. So, honestly, how could anyone else? The idea of doing something for myself was novel in my mind, but I was not yet prepared to actually go there. To this end, I decided to use my journal as a blog. I figured that in this way, I could perhaps let others know that I was a mess. See, I didn't think anyone could understand what was in my head, and it was very difficult for me to express it verbally. I would just ramble and tell stories. I would repeat the same things over and over and over again. In writing, I was able to sort out the different things that were going on in my mind. I could sort through the very issues that haunted me every day. Perhaps, I thought, those around me would read it and understand. Maybe they'd give me a break. I truly believed that they didn't get it. Or maybe someone else would read it and know that they weren't alone in feeling messed up. Maybe, just maybe, this whole journal thing could actually help someone. It gave me purpose. Today, I'd like to share with you a compilation of some of my very first posts. You see, in visiting these posts, I'm reminded of where I was at that very point in my life and how I long to be where I am today. But I didn't know how to get there. I was good at saying what should be, how I should feel, how I should respond to others, but I struggled to actually do so. These blog pieces remind me of who I was then and where I wanted to go. But even more than that, they show me that I have succeeded. And I hope that they will show others that in order to get from there to here, it takes time and a lot of support. This is what I wrote. From the day I walked out the door, leaving my marriage behind, I have found that the experience still has a strong hold on my life and my perceptions. As time goes by, this hold weakens. But even though I am 4 years out and surrounded by loving, strong, supportive people, I still have my days where I struggle with insecurities and views of life that are clouded by that experience. It has been hard, but I am okay with it. Years of believing certain things, guilt and shame take their toll. So learning to deal is expected. I don't need to make excuses for who I am. I am who I am based on the experiences that I have had. I am thankful that what I deal with is fixable. With time, I will get stronger, and it will be used in a positive way. I am not sick. I don't have an incurable disease, and I am no longer in the situation that was destroying me. It is important to realize that if you are in an abusive relationship, it's normal to be scared and to struggle. You will be scarred. Each person handles these scars in a different way, and that's okay. It's okay that you struggle with issues. You can fight through them and become the person you are meant to be. This concept was very difficult for me. For a long time, I was angry and hurt. I didn't deserve a life like that. I was angry that I had wasted time, angry that the church didn't understand, and angry that I didn't have a loving husband and children. I had done what I thought I was supposed to do. I stayed. I tried to fix it. I prayed I could be the wife that would make him happy and therefore make him stop acting the way he was. But that didn't happen. So I was bitter. And although I have come a long way, I still have days where I feel like I have no control over my emotions. I tell myself I have to be strong, make better decisions, and not take things the wrong way. However, that is easier said than done. I find myself reacting to things that others think are trivial, or I stand strong in decisions that I know in my heart is right, only to worry for days that I have hurt someone else. I look around me and honestly think that others are so much stronger in their decisions than I am. Thankfully, as time goes on, I'm getting better at being confident in my choices. I feel as though I'm getting stronger as a person, as me. I ultimately define who I am by the choices I make. I can choose to struggle with self-confidence, choose to have body issues that define me, choose to take everything to heart, and choose to think that I am not worthy. Sadly, I have allowed these poor opinions to interfere with new relationships and decisions that I have made. What we think of ourselves really does interfere with the direction our life takes us. Instead of dwelling on misconceived notions, I have been focusing on how I can turn them around into something positive. Instead of choosing those other thoughts, I can choose to know that I am a confident woman who works hard and is successful. Choose to know that I am not perfect and that doesn't matter. Choose to know that it is not personal. And choose to think that I'm worth a good bit as an individual. After years of being told in words and actions that I was not that great and could do better by the one person whose opinion mattered most to me, I am now focusing on what I see daily by those who do matter. Most importantly, I am focusing on what makes me happy and with who I am. Ultimately, if I'm happy in the choices I make and what I do with my life, I will attract people who love me and respect me for the person that I am. Every day is a giant leap forward in building a me that I can live with. I strongly believe that if a marriage cannot be fixed, it shouldn't be. But if it can be fixed, that it should be. The thing is, one person cannot fix a marriage alone. If you are being abused and your partner is unwilling to get help, if they can even be helped, you need to move on. You cannot fix the person or the situation, but you must take care of yourself. No matter how difficult, you can get the help needed to make a new life for yourself. Don't allow insecurities or embarrassment to lock you into a situation that is destroying you as an individual. It has the potential to not only destroy you as an individual, but to destroy your life physically and emotionally. I wrote that piece 5 years ago. As I look back, I realized that the piece I was missing was that I was saying all the right words, but I wasn't living them. I knew what the answers were, as you could hear in my writing, but how I had to perceive certain parts of my life to find happiness and freedom from my own negative thoughts, it was something that I just seemed unable to implement. I didn't know how to put these new ideas into action. Today, I mentor other women that are exactly where I was at that time. Women who are early on in their healing. I hear their words and I see the struggle in their eyes. Even though I've been there and I can relate to their inability to move on, they still do not trust that I understand their pain. They are attached to the feelings they have, even if they want with all their heart to move into a better space emotionally. They have not yet learned to let go. You see, letting go is a process, one that, from my personal experience, can take years. Early on, I was trying to understand this whole concept of letting go. And so, like in many other instances when I was trying to learn, I wrote about it. This is what I wrote. When you allow others into your life, you begin to learn more than you originally thought possible. For years, I pushed people out. I believe this was for a number of reasons. First, I didn't want them to learn the truth about me. I didn't want them to know I was weak. I thought I wasn't worth spending time with. Quite truthfully, I was jealous. I wanted what others had, but was too stubborn to see my life for what it was. I was, and still am, my own worst enemy. One thing that I personally have found very therapeutic is truly letting go of the past. I said for a long time I didn't care and had moved on, when in fact I had not. Holding on to your past and placing blame only creates a bitterness that encompasses every aspect of your life. Over the past year, my outlook on life, and in turn my life, has changed in ways I never thought possible. Once I allowed others in and started opening up as an individual, God really blessed me. It has not been easy, but I have met the most wonderful people who have accepted me for who I am. There are no games required, no acting, and no excuses. Not only have I been released from my bitterness, I have learned to be confident in the person I am. No matter what has been done to you, what losses you have had, or how much you may feel that you have wasted time in life, it is important to remember that you cannot change the past. Ultimately, you have to take responsibility for what has happened to you in life. It's a difficult step, no doubt, but you have to choose your path for the sake of this blog, and it is up to you to accept and make changes necessary to have the life you want. No one else can do that for you. Allow yourself to forgive yourself. Forget those that have hurt you, and create the life you have always envisioned. Life can be beautiful if you only allow it to be. Life can be beautiful if you only allow it to be. This was the first time that I used those words. It's amazing to look back and see how far I have come. Now, this is a mantra for me. It's an outreach, a hashtag, a way of living. Why? Because life is beautiful. I had missed so many beautiful moments in life. Not only had I missed them, I couldn't even see them there. They simply didn't exist to me. Life was a matter of emotional survival. There was no room for beauty. There was no room for happiness. But again, even though I knew these truths, it was a process to get from knowing them to actually living them. I stated that you can create the life you have always envisioned. But what was that? I had no idea where I was going or what I was meant to be. I thought I did. But all of those ideals were based on preconceived notions created by past experiences. So who was I really? Was I the person who I portrayed to the world? I wasn't really sure. I thought I knew who I was, but yet there was still an ongoing struggle constantly brewing under the surface. I delved a little deeper in a post that I called, Who Am I? Sometimes it takes someone pointing out the obvious for us to really get it. This past week, a friend said something that really got my attention. He basically told me, you are who you are. You are not someone else. Stop beating yourself over the head trying to get others to see you the way you see yourself. Just be you. Now, you can call my personality whatever you wish, emotional, annoying, controlling, type A, etc. However, I have never had a problem with who I am. I am passionate about life, take things to heart, feel for others, and often run very hot and cold. I know who I am when it comes to that part of me. There were times where I forgot momentarily, but ultimately, I have never had an issue with being me. As a matter of fact, the passion that I have for things is what drives me in life. It is what has moved me through the difficult times, what got me through school when I wanted to give up, what pushes me daily in my job, and what makes me different from the person next to me. As I look back on my life, I realize that this attitude I have towards life was there long before I got married, and is still a very big part of me. The one thing that has changed is that I never used to care what others thought of me. I never allowed it to get to me. However, I have noticed that I now allow others to tell me I'm wrong for the decision to be who I am. I have been told that my feelings, reactions, or emotions are not normal and that I need to change in one way or another. What is worse is that I have allowed what others think of me or their perceptions to envelop me to the core. Ultimately, this only affects me in the end, causing me to be upset and angry because of what others think. Although I'm not, nor ever will be perfect, I am me. I'm not someone else. Are there areas I need to work on? Of course there are. I am human after all. Even so, we are each uniquely created individuals, and it's not my job to behave the way that someone else thinks that I should, or see the world as they want me to see it. More importantly, it is my job to be secure in who I am and not expect others to see myself the way I do. If they don't, it's okay. We should be confident in who we are, so long as we are not hurting, misleading, or doing something negative to others around us. So when someone tells you to be or act differently, take the time to consider if it is necessary. Should you make that change? Or is that just someone else's opinion of how you should live your life? Remember, you are you, and that's pretty beautiful. This was a huge stepping stone for me. Of course, like all things, it took practice and time to get to where I am today. And trust me, I still have days when my old feelings and insecurities, they literally come rushing back. But with each journal entry and blog post I created, I worked through another issue, another crisis, or question that I had. I was one step closer to living with me and for me. This was by no means an easy process. Creating change in one's life, especially after trauma or abuse, is extremely difficult. And to make that process even more difficult is the fact that society often expects us to have a suck it up and deal with it attitude. This leaves many stuck in the earlier stages of healing, never getting a chance to find their true selves or their beautiful life. And this is not something that stops at intimate partner violence. It covers a range of brutal realities that individuals face daily. And that's why we have Forget Me Not Radio Taboo Topics. We will explore a number of those realities right here. I begin with my experience, stories of domestic violence, and other related issues faced by millions of people worldwide. But the topics that are taboo do not stop there. As part of this show, we will explore a number of topics, experiences, healing journeys, and issues that society should really wake up to. We are here to make change, and we invite you to be a part of that process. If you have not visited our webpage, I invite you to do so by visiting amydommett.com/podcast. There you can see upcoming topics and access our entire library of episodes. You can also be a patron of this show by visiting patreon.com/amydommett. There, for as little as $1 a month, you can not only support our ongoing success, but you can contribute to the conversation. We would love to hear your story ideas for future episodes. Thank you for joining me as I shared part of my story with you. Throughout these podcast episodes, we will have several Micro-Monologues where I talk to you about my story, what I've experienced, how I've grown, and the people that have helped me. And ultimately, I hope to be able to share with you more ways that you can relate as an individual to an entire society of hurting people. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.